In the dim glow of a lavish penthouse overlooking the glittering skyline of New York City, Elena Voss stood frozen, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Tears streamed down her flawless cheeks as she clutched a small, worn photograph in her trembling hands. The man she loved, the one who had turned her world upside down, was gone, or so it seemed. But what happened next would shatter every expectation, leaving her utterly speechless. If you're watching this, you won't believe how a simple confession over a candlelit dinner led to a love story that defied all odds. Hit that like button right now if you've ever believed in second chances, and subscribe to our channel for more heart-wrenching tales that prove love conquers all. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Trust me, this one's going to stay with you long after it's over. Let me take you back to where it all began. Elena Voss was no ordinary woman. At just 28 years old, she was the youngest CEO in the history of Voss Enterprises, a multi-billion-dollar tech conglomerate that specialized in cutting-edge AI and software solutions. Her father, the late Alexander Voss, had built the empire from a garage startup, and after his sudden passing in a tragic plane crash 2 years earlier, Elena had stepped into his shoes with a fierce determination that masked her inner turmoil. She was beautiful in a way that turned heads. Long, wavy auburn hair that cascaded like silk over her shoulders, piercing green eyes that could command a boardroom, and a figure honed by early morning runs through Central Park. But beneath the designer suits and the confident stride, Elena was lonely. Her life was a whirlwind of meetings, mergers, and media appearances. Relationships, they were fleeting at best. Superficial flings with other high-powered executives who saw her as a trophy or a business ally, not a soulmate. Love is a distraction, she'd often tell her best friend Mia, over late-night glasses of wine. I don't have time for fairy tales. Elena's days started at 5 a.m. with a personal trainer, followed by a helicopter ride to the office, where she'd oversee a team of hundreds. Voss Enterprises was on the verge of launching a revolutionary app that could predict consumer trends with eerie accuracy, potentially adding billions to the company's valuation. But success came at a cost. Elena hadn't taken a vacation in years, and her social circle was limited to those who could advance her career. Deep down, she craved something real, something that wasn't measured in stock prices or profit margins. Little did she know, that craving would lead her to a quaint Italian restaurant in the heart of Brooklyn, a place far removed from her upscale world. Across the city, in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment above a noisy laundromat, lived Marcus Hale. At 32, Marcus was a single dad doing everything he could to keep his head above water. His son, little Tommy, was 5 years old, a bundle of energy with curly brown hair and eyes that sparkled like his late mother's. Marcus's wife, Sarah, had passed away 3 years earlier from a rare form of cancer, leaving him devastated and drowning in medical bills. He'd been a promising architect once, designing eco-friendly homes for a mid-tier firm, but after Sarah's death, he'd quit to care for Tommy full-time. Now, he worked double shifts as a waiter at Luigi's Trattoria, a family-owned spot known for its homemade pasta and warm atmosphere. Marcus was handsome in a rugged, unpolished way, tall with broad shoulders from years of manual labor during his college days, dark hair that he kept short, and a smile that could light up the room, even on his worst days. But those days were frequent. Between rent daycare and Tommy's occasional asthma flare-ups, Marcus barely scraped by. One day at a time, "Buddy," he'd whisper to Tommy every night as he tucked him in, reading the same worn-out storybook about adventures in far-off lands. Marcus's life was a constant juggle. Mornings meant getting Tommy ready for kindergarten, dropping him off, then rushing to Luigi's for the lunch shift. Evenings were dinner service, where he'd charm customers with his easygoing nature, memorizing orders without a notepad and recommending the perfect wine pairing. His boss, old Luigi himself, treated him like a son, but the tips were inconsistent, and Marcus often skipped meals to ensure Tommy had enough. Dating, it wasn't even on his radar. Who'd want a package deal like us? He'd joke with his sister, who checked in from across town. But Marcus had a quiet strength, a resilience forged in loss. He dreamed of going back to architecture someday, sketching designs late at night after Tommy was asleep. For now, though, survival was the priority. It was a rainy Tuesday evening when fate decided to intervene. Elena had just wrapped up a grueling day negotiating a deal with a European investor. Exhausted and craving comfort food, she ditched her usual 5-star haunts and asked her driver to take her somewhere authentic. "Surprise me," she said, staring out at the blurred city lights. The driver, a longtime employee named Carlos, suggested Luigi's. "Best tiramisu in the city, Miss Voss. And it's off the beaten path, no paparazzi." Elena agreed, stepping into the cozy restaurant with its checkered tablecloths and soft accordion music playing in the background. She was seated at a corner table, her designer coat dripping slightly from the downpour outside. Marcus approached her table with his usual warm smile, notepad in hand. "Good evening, ma'am. Welcome to Luigi's. Can I start you off with something to drink? Our house red is excellent tonight." Elena looked up, and for a moment, time seemed to slow. There was something about his eyes, kind, genuine, without a hint of the calculation she was used to seeing in people's gazes. "Just water for now." "Thank you," she replied, her voice softer than intended. As he walked away, she couldn't help but watch him, noting the way he interacted with other patrons, laughing easily, making an elderly couple feel like royalty. The meal progressed, and Elena found herself ordering more than she needed just to have excuses for Marcus to return. She tried the eggplant parmesan, savoring each bite as if it were a revelation. "This is incredible," she told him when he checked on her. "What's the secret?" Marcus grinned. "Love mostly. Luigi says you can taste the heart in the food." Their conversation flowed naturally. About the rain, the city, even a bit about her stressful day, though she kept details vague. Marcus shared a funny story about a customer who once proposed with a meatball ring, making Elena laugh. A real, unguarded laugh she hadn't heard from herself in months. As the evening wound down, Elena left a generous tip, far more than the bill warranted. Marcus noticed but didn't comment, simply thanking her sincerely. Little did either know this was just the spark. The next week, Elena found herself back at Luigi's. Work had been brutal. A rival company was trying to sabotage her app launch with leaked patents, and she needed an escape. Marcus recognized her immediately. "Back for more eggplant," he teased. This time their talk deepened. Elena asked about his life, and Marcus mentioned Tommy in passing, his face lighting up. "He's my everything," he said, showing her a photo on his phone. Elena felt a pang. She'd always wanted a family, but her career had pushed it aside. "He looks just like you," she replied, her voice warm. Over the following weeks, Elena became a regular. She'd come in after long days, sometimes alone, sometimes with Mia, who quickly picked up on the chemistry. "That waiter, he's got you smiling like a schoolgirl," Mia teased. Elena brushed it off, but inside, she was intrigued. Marcus, too, looked forward to her visits. He learned her preferences, extra basil on the pasta, lemon in her water, and shared bits of his world. One night after closing, he walked her to her car in the rain, holding an umbrella over her. "You don't have to," she protested. "I want to," he said simply. Their first real date happened almost by accident. Tommy had a school event, a kindergarten play, and Marcus mentioned he was going alone. Elena impulsively offered to join. "If it's not too weird," she added. Marcus hesitated, then agreed. Watching Tommy on stage as a little tree in the play, Elena felt a warmth she couldn't explain. Afterward, over ice cream, Tommy chattered away, calling her the pretty lady from Daddy's work. Marcus watched them interact, his heart stirring for the first time since Sarah. But love wasn't easy. As their connection grew, challenges emerged. Elena's world clashed with Marcus's. She invited him to a gala, her arm candy for the night, but the stares and whispers were relentless. "Who's the waiter?" one socialite sneered. Marcus felt out of place in his rented tux, but he held his head high for her. "I don't belong here," he confessed later. Elena cupped his face. "You belong with me." Then there was Tommy. The boy adored Elena, who spoiled him with books and toys, but Marcus worried about stability. "What if this doesn't work? He'll be heartbroken." Elena reassured him, but doubts lingered. Elena's board of directors posed another hurdle. Rumors of her dating below her station circulated, and a scheming VP, Richard Klein, used it to undermine her. "She's distracted," he argued in meetings. Elena fought back, but the stress mounted. One night, after a heated argument with Richard, she showed up at Marcus's apartment unannounced, tears in her eyes. "I feel like I'm losing everything," she admitted. Marcus held her, his strong arms a safe haven. "You've got me," he whispered. Their intimacy deepened slowly, respectfully. Their first kiss happened under the stars in Central Park, after a picnic Marcus packed. It was tender, passionate, a promise of more. But physical closeness brought emotional vulnerabilities. Marcus opened up about Sarah's death, the long nights in the hospital, the grief that still hit him like waves. Elena shared her father's crash, how she'd buried her pain in work. "We're both broken," she said. "Maybe we can fix each other," he replied. As months passed, love blossomed. Elena helped Marcus with Tommy's medical bills discreetly, not wanting to emasculate him. Marcus encouraged her to take time off, teaching her to cook simple meals in his tiny kitchen. Laughter filled their days, Tommy's giggles their shared jokes. But storm clouds gathered. Richard Klein escalated his sabotage, leaking false stories to the press about Elena's inappropriate relationship, affecting the company. Stocks dipped, and the board called an emergency meeting. "Step down or end it," they demanded. Elena refused, but the pressure cracked her. In a moment of doubt, she told Marcus, "Maybe we're too different." Hurt, he pulled away. "I knew this would happen," he said bitterly. Heartbroken, Elena threw herself into work, but it felt empty. Marcus focused on Tommy, but the boy missed her. "Where's Elena?" he'd ask. Then, tragedy struck. Tommy had a severe asthma attack, landing in the hospital. Marcus, alone and terrified, called Elena in desperation. She rushed over, paying for the best care. Sitting by Tommy's bedside, they reconciled. "I can't lose you," she sobbed. "You won't," he promised. But the real shock came when Elena discovered she was pregnant. Staring at the test, she was speechless, joy mixed with fear. How would Marcus react? The company? She confronted the board, revealing everything, including a plan to balance family and career. Inspired by Marcus's strength, she fought and won, ousting Richard. Telling Marcus left her breathless. In their favorite park, she handed him the test. His eyes widened, then filled with tears. "We're having a baby," he whispered. They embraced, the future bright. Years later, Elena and Marcus built a life together. A blended family, with Voss Enterprises thriving under shared leadership. Tommy gained a sibling, and love proved unbreakable. If this story touched you, like and subscribe for more. Remember, true love sees no boundaries. It heals, inspires, and leaves us speechless. Thanks for watching.